listened to an interview that Karin Slaughter did. It wasn't about this book, it was about a different book, but she was questioned about why she gets so graphic. And I appreciated her answer. She said, because it happens. Mm-hmm. Things that happen to women are not pretty. And this is me telling their stories, and it may not be for everyone, but we can't just cover our ears and eyes and pretend that these horrible things don't happen. Hey, besties.
Hey.
Welcome back for another episode of the Hello Bestie podcast. I'm Maggie.
I'm Tashima.
All right, let's get into our book chat. What you got for us this week?
So this week we have Pretty Girls by Karin Slaughter.
Ciao.
So it's a book about these, like a family, two sisters, mom and dad, and when they were younger, their oldest sister went missing while she was in college. Mm-hmm. It's been like 25 years. They never found her. And then another girl in that town around the same age as their sister was went missing, which then just unravels this wormhole of situations. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's like a brief synopsis of what the book is about.
Yeah.
So it is like mystery, thriller, suspense.
All of that.
But yeah, on Amazon, it has a 4.3 rating, and then on Goodreads, it has a 4.
Okay. So
what would you rate this book from 0 to 5?
I would give this book a solid 4.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
I think the writing was really good.
Okay.
Definitely put me in my feelings, and any book that really does that is going to be a 4.
Wow. Mm-hmm. I'm happy to hear that, especially after...
Is that shocking?
I wasn't sure.
Okay.
I wasn't sure. I mean, it's not... I feel like the same. I would give it a solid 4. I feel like the writing and the imagery was really good, but...
Too good.
Sometimes, like with thrillers and stuff, you get a little, like, paranoid. So, like, ooh, I'm not sure she's going to like this.
Yes. No, I give it a 4.
So it had mixed reviews. On Goodreads, somebody wrote, "Here's the thing. The book is full of torture corn. It's 400 pages, and I'd say a fourth of it is straight up highly detailed, repetitive torture. That's about 100 pages describing women being tortured, essayed, and murked. Mm-hmm. This isn't your run-of-the-mill thriller. No. This is big kid stuff. The stuff that gets called chilling and heart-pounding and edge-of-your-seat and thriller and psychological. No. What it is dull. Don't get me wrong, I'd say the first 140 pages or so is engaging, almost gripping. And then the first big thing happens, and then almost immediately, a second, I felt my heart sink, because anyone who's been a 90s thriller Lifetime movie or not should be able to rattle off the next few major plot points in an easy succession, and they'd be right. And then it just, like... This reviewer went in.
Interesting.
Like, I'd be here for a minute if I read how long this is.
Okay.
They clearly weren't a fan.
Some people get very passionate.
Yeah, they do. This is a 5-star. This story is highly disturbing, but at the same time really good because the characters are well thought out, and it throws a crazy plot twist that becomes a page-turner for the rest of the book. The torture descriptions were horrific and hard to read, but it brought up the intensity in the story by several levels when it came to understanding the pure evil monsters/men responsible for crimes. The last letter was heartbreaking but comforting, and I'll be reading more books from this author because the writing is great.
I don't think I'll read another Karin Slaughter novel. And you know how when I find an author I love, I am in Besteas. I will go down the rabbit hole and read all of your
whole catalog.
This was very good. It was a little it just wasn't my cup of tea in terms of, it was very graphic. Very graphic, very hard to read, cringe at some points. And that's not what I want out of my reading, but I'm glad you chose this for book club because it's a really good book and I'm glad I got to experience it. But it's like, okay, done that. I'm good on that.
Yeah.
I'll leave this over here.
And I think sometimes you have to read things just to kind of know, like, your taste.
Right. Right.
knowing, well, how do you know if you've never tried?
Hmm.
Kind of like you with like the fantasy stuff.
Right.
Never in a million years did you think you'd be into talking
I
dragons.
am fully in my bag on
Yeah.
that. Fully in my bag on that.
Yeah, I love
So
that for you.
I listened to an interview that Karin Slaughter did. It wasn't about
Mhm.
this book, it was about a different book, but she was questioned about why she gets so graphic. And I appreciated her answer. She said, because it happens.
Mhm.
Things that happen to women are not pretty. And this is me telling their stories, and it may not be for everyone, but we can't just cover our ears and eyes and pretend that these horrible things don't happen. They happen, and it's real, and life is graphic, and life is cringe, and life is. So I appreciate her putting that onto paper,
Mhm.
and that's part of why it was so hard for me, because I do know that these things happen, and that's
Right.
horrible to listen to, that people go through this.
Right.
And I'm not trying to la 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 la, but also
Yeah.
it like impacts me in a way that I just don't want in my spare time, I guess, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. So
We get enough of it in the news. I get
right,
that.
right.
So there are people who are um that I know that don't like to watch like those kind of movies or
Mhm.
movies with a lot of violence and stuff because
Right.
they do feel like, yeah, we have enough of that.
Mhm.
So no, thank you.
I felt like this book
Respect.
had every single trigger warning that there is, and it lived
Yeah.
up to every single trigger warning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good though.
It was good.
Yeah. What would you say you liked about the book?
The descriptive writing, I could see the room, I could see the walls. I thought that seeing a family break apart over something like that and come back together, basically for the same situation, I think was a unique perspective to take. Maybe not unique, but interesting perspective to take. I enjoyed seeing it. I think the character development was really well. I also like the dad's letters, how it kind of opened and closed with that. And throughout the book, he told a story in that in itself, and I like that piece of it too.
Same. I
Yeah.
really loved his letters because it, like you said, seeing the family being torn apart and having not necessarily personal experience, but having familial experience with
Mhm.
that. Um, like I feel like I have seen what can happen like when tragedy strikes a
Mhm.
family and how it can tear the family apart and like the aftermath of people trying to put the pieces together and they just don't quite fit anymore.
Right.
And then having his letters just really shed light on, you know, parents who just aren't willing to give up.
Right.
Because I don't think any parent ever does.
Right.
Unless you have that closure, you're always thinking. Like there was a part in there where I think it was Claire where she was saying, like stopping people on the street because they kind of look like
Right.
and stuff like that. His letters just made it brought a lot more humanity to what was a horrific situation in that book.
Right.
It brought that softness that you kind of needed that just really, for me, it just like took my heart and just squeezed it
I
like
agree.
an orange.
Yes.
So I was like, oh my God, he's so broken.
The hope and the grief at the same time, I think was captured really, really well
Yeah.
in those letters.
She did an amazing job with that.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I could just read an entire book just with that kind of writing style.
I agree.
I thought it was beautiful. So with the multiple characters' perspectives, where it went from like the letters with the dad and the sisters, Claire and oh my gosh,
Lydia.
thank
Mhm.
you. How did you feel about that?
I like multiple POVs in a
Okay.
book. I think anything over 3, it gets really hairy,
Yeah.
as we kind of talked about recently
Yeah.
with a different book. I liked it. I think it's always important to get inside of their head and just understand what they're doing and what they're thinking. There wasn't one for Paul, though, and I would have been interested to kind of get inside the mind of such a sadistic person,
Right.
why you do what you do, because it's not just about money.
Mm-hmm.
There's more to that. So I don't think the book missed anything from not having that. I'm just saying it would have been cool if we're going to have multiple POVs to have one from him too.
Yeah. Personally, I feel like I agree with you, but I personally felt like I got enough
I agree.
because the things that he was saying, I think sometimes when you have like sociopaths and psychopaths, like you will never get the why, because I don't even think that they understand the why. When you're missing that um, compassion and empathy,
Mm-hmm.
or you have such strong curiosity for and an obsession for seeing things a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
and everything else is irrelevant, I don't think you will ever get to anything deeper than it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Because you have that and they don't.
Right.
And so for them, they're like, but why not?
That's true. Mm-hmm.
So I think if she were to have done that, you'd be like, what? Like he's
Yeah.
so empty, and it would have not given him like, I don't know. Do you get what I'm saying?
I get what
can't
you're saying.
relate the
I
words.
also don't know that an author that how can you?
Yeah,
Because
without
if you
like
take this
imagining
person
it.
that's a complete beast, a monster, sadistic person, horrible, if you in your mind you can acknowledge how horrible this is and you can discuss a horrible person doing these things,
Mm-hmm.
how, unless you think that way too, how can you really get in someone's head to understand, like you said, their reason why, to be able to write about it? So I think
Like
that
it
in itself would
could.
be challenging.
Kind of like actors, you know, like some actors are what do you call it? Um there's a word for it, but it's like actors that actually become the character in their real life the whole time that they're acting.
Yeah.
Method actors.
Mm-hmm.
So like if somebody were doing like a Malcolm X, like a method actor would literally live their life the same way that this person did, day in, day out. Every time you talk to them on the phone, and this is even offset, they speak in the same way, they wear the clothes, they
No, for
so I
sure,
feel
for
like
certain
you
roles,
could with
but
research, but I don't think you'd ever even understand it. Like you could only do your best.
I mean to explain, like, I get what you're saying, but I don't know if that necessarily applies to this. Like a person who's gonna play Ted Bundy, I don't think that guy is gonna go around and start raping women
No,
and do it. You know
no.
what I mean? Like, because he's living like. So in this particular, I just think
I get what
I
you're
think we
saying.
both understand what each other
Yeah,
are saying. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
I don't think the book needed his point of view at all.
Yeah.
I think that it would have been cool to have, but
Mhm.
I also accept that it's probably challenging to do that in a way to where it made sense for the book. It didn't need it. The book was good on
Right.
its own.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. So do you think that the characters were believable? Not just like throughout the like when things started unfolding, but in the way that they also reacted to the disappearance of Julia and just thereafter.
Yes, I do.
I agree.
I liked all the characters and how they were developed. There were things I didn't like about each character, obviously. So Lydia, I think her character was very believable. You're the kid that kind of just black sheep of the family. You got into drugs, you started lying and doing things like that. I thought it was very unfortunate that, the situation that she had with Paul when she was younger, when she told Claire and Helen, the mom, and they didn't believe her, because everything in me was just like, you two pieces of shit.
Yeah.
If she's going to tell you something like that, how dare you make her feel like she's lying? But then the more I learn about Lydia, it's kind of like,
Yeah.
she was very untrustworthy to the
Right.
point
You're
where you
stealing,
couldn't put
you're lying.
anything past her.
Right.
She had proven herself to be someone who would say anything to get anything that she wanted. So I could see why they stopped all messing with each other after a situation like that.
Yeah.
But it was unfortunate because it was true. The mom, she became a real one. She was there for Claire when
Right.
she needed her.
And writing to her the whole time, which
Yes.
she thought her mom just completely wrote her off.
Yes.
And come to find out,
Yep.
she was writing her for years.
Right.
And Paul was keeping the letters.
Yep.
And I feel like, because at first I'm like, how are you going to pick? You already lost one kid, and then you just voluntarily
Right.
turn your back on the other.
Right.
But she didn't.
Right.
So I feel like the characters are very believable, and having the different points of view gave you insight as to why people made the decisions that they did.
Right.
And when you don't really disclose how you feel
Mm-hmm.
in a situation, whether it's during or after, that's how those lines get crossed.
Right.
And people just assume. And then, 2 decades go by before anybody really realizes, like, oh, man,
Yeah.
My bad.
I was intrigued in the beginning. I thought Claire's character was very interesting off rip because I I think the book opens with the dad's letter, if I'm not mistaken. Well,
I
anyway,
think so.
in the beginning part of the book, when Claire is at the bar and it talks about her bracelet or whatever, she's fresh
Right.
off parole. It was pretty clear at that point they were rich, they had a lot of money. So I was just very intrigued, like, damn, what'd she do?
Right.
What'd she do to get
Yeah, I
locked
didn't
up?
understand that.
I didn't get that, and
Because
it took a while to
her
learn.
character development didn't give I did a crime.
Right.
Especially when you find out like how sedity she is.
Right.
You're just like, what could you possibly have done?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Beat out a kneecap with a tennis racket.
And then them going into the alley and him behaving that way, and it's something that he never did. And I just kind of took this like Poindexter, the first time in his life that he's trying to live on the wild side, and this is what happened. So I was immediately, some books take a long time to get into. This one wasn't those. I felt like she did a good job of like locking you in early on.
See, I was a little, like I did find myself in the beginning not quite getting into it. But then once things didn't make sense, wait, what? Like, you had this chick at the bar with the ankle monitor on who's now officially on parole because she did something we don't know what. Her husband was murdered in an alley, but she's so dependent. Like, she's ultimately so codependent on everyone around her, can't do anything. He's leaving laminated sheets on instructions on how to do everything. The two didn't make sense to me. And I'm like, this doesn't sound like the same person, because then she's like tapping into, okay, I can step, like she's channeling these people around her to find ways to get through certain things. And that's when I'm like, okay, there's more to this onion. And it started, but it took kind of getting through the whole funeral. Like, I think I got interested, obviously, when she found the hard drive. Like, when she went on the computer and saw the video, I was like, hold up.
Right.
You found what?
Right.
Oh, we need to know more. But I also got pissed off. Because I'm like, you took it to the police station? And why?
Yeah.
You go through it? Like, I would have been all up and through that thing. Like, I had 20 copies if I needed to.
Well, she had already seen some of what was on it. And
some of it, but she didn't go through the whole thing when she dropped it off.
Something like that, thinking it's real, if you're anticipating seeing more of that, that's going to be hard to watch. I could honestly understand why she went to the police when she did, but that was a hard thing for her to do, because it's like, here's my reputation. Here's everything that he was known for, but I'm doing it because Anna Kilpatrick, like,
looks like this girl.
Yeah. The cop pissed me off. It came out later why, obviously, but that was
a red flag in the beginning.
This is just certain jobs, like we've talked about, are not compensated as they should be. Teachers, for instance, police officers, firefighters, and things like that. But I just think certain things shouldn't equate to money. You took this job because you really care about people and because you want to help, and you're gonna. So when you hear about cops that just dirty, crooked ass cops and things like that, and politicians, and it's like par for the course, but it's
because you're a civil servant.
Exactly. Servant. Civil servant.
Yes, you should be compensated, but you're also not going to make six figures, and you knew that going into it. You know, you
had a calling.
We would assume that you did it because you had a passion,
or the clergy, or something like that,
you should have been a stockbroker,
right. Lydia, I was automatically intrigued with, because her pissing on the dude's grave, that gave, this is what you try to do to someone that ruined your life. This is what you...
And when she still did it, despite her sister standing there watching her pee on her dead husband's grave, I was like, you're a G.
Right.
And like took the tissue, wiped herself, threw it on the ground, and then just threw the little cover over it. I was like, she gives zeros. She's the real one.
But yeah, were the characters believable? Absolutely, because that is giving, you know.
That's giving like hurt and pain, destruction, healing, and especially how far she went to going into her healing journey. I thought was beautiful.
Something I really appreciated about the book was Claire's painted as this you know, multimillionaire woman, well off. You see how horrible her marriage was. Then you take Lydia, who struggling single mom, had a pet grooming business. I think she built from the ground up. She had done like jail time, right?
Yeah, but she couldn't become a vet because she had a record.
Correct.
For felony.
So she did the next best thing and started pet grooming. She's got this ex-con guy, Rick. Like, they're just
Mechanic.
two average people making an average income, but their relationship so superseded everything that Claire and Paul had. I appreciate that she represented that.
Yeah. That she just wasn't painted out to still be just, I don't know, like a piece of trash.
Yeah, yeah.
Sam writes, when you first disappeared, your mother warned me that finding out exactly what happened to you would be worse than never knowing. Which is worse, knowing or never knowing?
I think never knowing is worse.
I agree.
Knowing is very painful, especially what ended up happening to her. I can't imagine knowing that your loved one went through something like that. And then to see it was a whole different, but
that's a whole other
thing. That's awful to know that this is what those last moments look like, because you can imagine how terrible it was. They saw it. And that's a horrible thing, but at least you don't go the rest of your life. Every familiar face you see ever. I think that's peace isn't the right word, closure isn't the right word, but you get some sense of finality with knowing, okay, this is what happened and there's nothing I can do about it. Correct. Versus a whole life of, I'm going to find out what happened and I'm going to, to only not. So I think never knowing is worse.
Yeah, I agree. Just for all the reasons that you said.
Yeah.
I feel like a part of me, like if I were a character in this book, at some point would get to a point where I have made peace with the knowledge that I received and I would be full of vengeance. And at that point, I think I would be mentally prepared for knowing more, seeing, feeling like I will walk to the end of the earth to ensure that justice is served by any means necessary. Right. As a character, as a hypothetical character. Yeah.
Myself snitching. Did you think it was plausible that the dad had committed suicide, or were you surprised when you found out that it was Paul that had something to do with it and framed it to look like a suicide?
I was surprised that the dad committed suicide because it didn't fall in line with the way that his character was developed. So when it came out that he did, I feel like it had something to do with him finding out.
Right.
Did I think it had anything to do with Paul? No. So when I found that part out, my heart was shattered.
Right.
Because there's a part in one of the letters where he kind of talks about having wanted to give up, but that is not his flow, like his style at all. So then I was like, but what? Like, you said that you would never do that, and then you did do that? So I don't know. That whole thing just, like, broke my heart.
It did. It was heartbreaking. I will say that I was surprised by that. I could kind of see both sides of it. I could see him being so depressed and so everything, and, he just decided to end it. But I also agreed that he was going too hard on trying to find out what happened. Why would he just give up like that? So,
having literally lost his entire family,
right,
still not giving up. You just wake up one day and decide that enough is enough.
Right.
That didn't fit his MO.
It didn't fit his MO. That's what a piece of shit thing to do. Make him watch this video and then do that. I will say that was a twist that I was surprised about. I wasn't surprised when it came out that Paul was still alive. Once they went to that house and it was kind of, she heard the voicemail or whatever, and once I heard that, I was like, something going on with that, because she was questioning, so he has a whole nother wife and a whole nother life, and does she know? And I
Which I
immediately
didn't
thought he
get
had
that
faked
though.
his death to go live with this other woman. So when they
Mm,
went to the house, like he punched her. I wasn't surprised when I was like, okay, he's still alive. Here we go.
interesting. I didn't think he was still alive. I thought it would be one of those situations where he had this whole other life
Hmm.
and that she was involved because um what's her name? Anna? Her body was discovered after he was already like buried.
Mm.
So obviously somebody else was involved in this situation.
Hmm.
With all these videos and stuff that she found, there was clearly a partner. So I'm thinking it's either one of the police officers
Mm.
or this chick,
Yeah.
and that they're literally walking into a honey trap.
Mm.
But I guess I don't know who that person is. I don't remember them even
I
really
don't
talking
either.
about, because there was two different voicemails.
Right.
They never, that I got no closure for, and I'm like, so who is this person?
Right.
Like, is this one of the people that he murked? But I know that there's other books and stuff,
Mm.
so maybe,
That was like a little Easter egg or
yeah,
something.
maybe it's
Mm.
gonna come up in one of the other.
That could be something to read again. And oh, I didn't realize that maybe we are missing. Like I said, I'm not going to read it again for reasons I've already
Yeah, no, I'm
disclosed.
not
But
gonna read it. I also thought, what did you think about how Claire was like low key a thought?
I thought that was hilarious.
She's like hoeing around with the caterer and all this stuff.
That was just giving unhappy housewife. Like I'm with him for the money, and yes, I care about him. We've known each other for a long time. But the sister even said he was never her speed,
Mm-hmm.
and she
And
was a
none of
thought
them
back
were.
then. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's just who she was as a person. So once it came out, I just kind of laughed, like,
Yeah. She said anybody can get it.
basically.
The whole thing with the fertility, where she went to the fertility doctor and he told her that she couldn't get pregnant because she had an IUD.
Yeah,
That was definitely giving Gone Girl vibes.
yeah,
So
I agree.
when that part came up, I was like, there's more.
Right.
Like it just, the further you got, there's just more depth and complexity to
Mhm.
all of these people. So the writer did a really, really good job at making these people authentic.
Did the graphic scenes bother you about what was on the videos and things like that?
No, and I remember you saying you saw a post.
I saw a review of someone
Oh,
saying
yeah.
like, I mean, I don't know if this makes me, I don't know what this says about me, but I am definitely not as bothered or creeped out as other people are by reading
Yeah.
it.
And so we kind of talked about that before we read it. So when I was listening to it, as things were happening and I wasn't really having like a disgusted reaction and response, I'm like, is this what she's talking about? And then something else would happen. I'm like, is this what she's talking about? And then something else would happen. I'm like, are we at the part yet where I'm supposed to be like, oh my God?
You know what did it for me? So obviously the way the women were slain and basically slaughtered like animals,
Right.
that was hard to listen to, but it wasn't that. What got me was the waterboarding.
Ugh. Yeah.
That
grossed me
out so bad I wanted to stop listening.
Yeah. That was hard to
It
listen
was
to,
the
which is
waterboarding
crazy.
for me. It is crazy.
Yeah.
Murder and blood and guts, and it was the waterboarding for me
Yeah.
that just, ugh.
Yeah. That was bad.
And when
that
Lydia's
was when
like,
you
I'm
really...
already dead. I'm already, like, that was hard.
She was so broken.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was really afraid because I don't know how you could come back from that, because she still, like, 20 something years later, still had trauma from the attempted essay.
Right.
So to then go through this, but obviously her circumstance is different.
He's also insulting her too.
Reading her the letters that her mom wrote, reading more of her dad's journals or letters to the sister.
Can't wait till your daughter gets of age. She's next on my list. Like, it was just this one family, this father and his son totally try to just pick every woman out of this family, kill the father. Like, just, why? That was just so heartbreaking to me. I will say Lydia kind of pissed me off when Claire was about to off Paul and she was telling her to stop. He's not worth it.
Yes, he is.
Girl,
Do it.
I felt like that, how I felt about For She Is No, you got him. Finish this now.
Yeah.
Don't let him live. Don't let.
I appreciated when Lydia was telling Claire, we're not superheroes.
Yeah.
Because for a second, I found myself leaning into Claire's fantasy of things just falling into place
Mhm.
and having Lydia be like, no, this isn't the movies. This is real stuff. Like, we're going to a house where we have no idea
Right.
what is on the other side.
Mhm.
We don't even know. Like, there are too many unknowns.
Lydia also had her daughter to get back to.
I have a daughter.
Was
I have a
different.
job.
Right.
I've built my life. I'm trying to heal.
Mhm.
I'm not going in here with a cape trying to bust down doors.
Right.
And, you know, and she's like, well, we're just going to drive by. I was like, you ain't driving by
Right.
nothing. Like, come on.
Right.
She's like, pull into the driveway. I just want to see something. And she's like, here we go.
Yeah.
It's like, you should have known that this was going to happen. What did you think about the FBI agent Nolan?
Gross.
Did it piss you off when you found out at the end that they were dating?
It did.
I'm like, what
It
purpose
did.
is this serving? He's a creep.
That bothered me so bad. I'm like, girl,
That was a weird,
you
unnecessary.
clearly can get it
Yeah.
any way you want.
Yuck.
This.
Everything about him just was like, yuck.
But she even said, like, I'm not really, like, hey, what the hell? You only, like, she was just very, girl.
Yeah, no, I didn't. And her sister was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, rightfully so.
I was like, yeah, it's something about, like, she's giving, I have low self-esteem, but she doesn't have low self-esteem.
Right.
Like, why are you doing this?
You just give zeros.
Yeah.
Take some pride in your vagina.
One thing I didn't like was the scene where Claire is like running around through the city, ducking and dodging the cop that was chasing her.
Oh.
That felt like, I'm like, here we go with this hokey business.
I don't even really remember that part. That's funny. I'm like trying to recall.
It was a very long stretch. I get the purpose of it because we had to pull back mom. We had to pull mom into the situation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Helen. So I get the purpose.
Like with the burner phone and trying to plan the trip and all of this because she had to call him every whatever he was going to call her.
Yeah, and like, well, when she
went to the hotel. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, like she went to the hotel, but she's running through the alleyways and hiding from the police officer and it's like hiding in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Called her mom comes and like has all this, like, she stepped up, but that part to me, I was just like, it just fell a little too perfectly. You know, like her mom just happens to buy her a pair of underwear.
Yeah.
That worked out perfectly to hold, you know, is that I'm like, just too, like, for it to be like, we're not superheroes, but then everything fell in line kind of like superhero. But that was like a very minor thing.
Got it.
Just a little annoying.
Yeah.
But I thought the book was like really good. I enjoyed it.
I thought it was good. I'm glad that they came together at the end. How did you feel about them going and basically finding Julia's remains in...
I was happy for them to have peace and just closure to the whole situation. You know what? When you were saying the whole thing with the waterboarding, I think for me, what took it to the point where I then felt uncomfortable was when he was showing, was it I think a video, like he showed Lydia, like, or they were going over how the video ended. And then she saw the picture of Paul with the police officer.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like strung up and like the scarf of innards.
Yeah.
That part to me, I think the imagery of that, I would never be able to get out of my head.
Yeah. Because
I feel like I saw it as if it were a picture in my hand. And that part for me was like, I've had about enough of this. But thank God it was like the end of it. Like if it would have kept going after that with more of that, I don't know if I would have finished it because that was, for me, I was tapped out.
Yeah, some of it was hard to read, hard to listen to, for sure.
Very descriptive, but I mean, for a visual person, I think the imagery was wonderful.
Right.
I think she did an amazing job. So
Yeah.
kudos to her.
Yeah, kudos to her.
All right, besties. Well, thank you so much. Let us know your thoughts down below about this book. And as always, any suggestions that you have on books that you want to read for book club. And we will see you next Tuesday, same time, same place.
Catch you back on the couch, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Oh my God, this is some disgusting ass shit. But I know that it happens.
When he was driving around and doing all that shit, and then he took the hood off of her and she realized that he never went anywhere at all.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
He's a fucking genius.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's like crunching through leaves and all that. I was like, damn, this motherfucker's good.